What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is Big Brother season 23 episode 8. So listen, we are at the beginning of Xavier's HOH, and let me say this before I get into what had happened. I'm gonna give this season of Big Brother so far, I'm gonna give it a pretty good B plus, okay? Because I feel like we are playing the game. I feel like people are in this and we are playing the game, okay? I'm going to give Big Brother an A for this whole wild card thing because the wild card is changing the game. It is changing how people are playing and it is changing how people have to play. I like this group situation because it's an automatic alliance. And whether you like your teammates or not, they are a part of your alliance and you got to figure out a way to work around them. And as we get deeper and deeper into the season, you're seeing like people who are like, that person's on my team, but I don't think I like them that much. So I'm here for all of this so far. But you know where I am going to give them an F in? I'm going to give them an F in communication. Because sometimes some of these problems they have created for themselves, in all honesty, can be eliminated with a real quick conversation. And we're going to get to that as we get deep into this episode. So, the target this week is Brent. And everything is moving around Brent being the target, but him not knowing that he's the target. And him thinking that he really is, like, safe. And he really is the cat's meow, right? There were a lot of games within the game that went on in this last episode, even down to the HOH and certain people throwing the HOH because they didn't want their team to get safety because they wanted Brent to go home. So Brent and Whitney seem to have been the target, but somehow by the end of this episode, it ended up being Brent and somebody else. So a couple of things went down this episode. One, we have the formation of a whole nother alliance called the Royal Flush, which basically includes everybody except for the Jokers plus Derek X. I ain't about to sit here and give y'all all the damn names, but the Kings, Queens, Jacks, and Derek X. Okay, that is who's in the damn alliance. Remember, we still have the Cookout Alliance. So Xavier's options have already been dwindled all the way down to 3 people. That is Brent, Whitney, and Brent, Whitney, and Brittany. Okay, yes. Now, I feel some kind of way about that whole situation because Brittany really hasn't done anything to anybody that at least I know of. And so the fact that she was been a target and now she's like potentially the target 2 weeks in a row for doing absolutely nothing, just not being in the right alliances. I mean, I guess that's Big Brother, but I kind of feel bad for her because I feel like by the end of this episode, I really do feel like she's been picked on. Now, for all of the what's the word I'm looking for? Train wreck that Frenchie's HOH was. 2 things that Frenchie said have come to pass. One, that Brent's a douche. And he was right to target Brent at the beginning. When Frenchie made that mistake, well, outside of all the other mistakes, was letting Brent talk him out of putting him on the block. Because I think Frenchie's life might have went a little bit easier, well, outside of all the promises he made to every damn body and blowing up all of his alliances. Yeah, but putting Brent on the block might not have been a bad idea that first week because it seems like everybody else kind of saw what Frenchie sixth sense was sort of telling him about Brent. Second, Showmance. Christian and Elisa. Showmance, anyone? Now again, Frenchie ain't had no monopoly on that. We all saw it coming. He was just premature in targeting it. All you had to do was wait a week or 2 because now it really is a showmance. Now we have another potential showmance coming up that I never would have seen coming, but it's so cute. Derek X and Hannah, which Hannah thinks Derek is cute. She has a crush on him, and I think Derek likes Hannah, but I think Derek isn't sure whether Hannah likes him or not, and I think Derek doesn't want to get caught up in the whole showmance situation, but it will be interesting to see how that progresses because they are cute. And I am here for it. I approve of that showmance. Now, I'm going to tell you what, though. If they do actually hook up for real, the rest of that house is in trouble. Because they're very smart. They think a lot on the same level. And they think very analytically. So they might be in trouble. I'm just saying. You might not want that showmance to go down. So let's talk about it. So Xavier's biggest concern was the wild card game. Because, again, whoever wins the wild card, it could potentially throw off who he can eliminate, which is what hurt Frenchie, right? So when it came time to play the wild card, everybody who was in these alliances with Xavier were very strategic and who got picked for their team. Tiffany, now y'all better keep an eye on Miss Tiffany. Miss Tiffany, I don't want to tell nobody else what to do, but all the whole while I'm telling everybody what to do. But she does it in such a very nice motherly way. I don't think they notice it, and I don't know if they're gonna pick up on it until it might be too late, and Tiffany might be sitting on top of everybody. You feel what I'm saying? Which I like her, but y'all better keep an eye on her. So Tiffany is going to play for her team. Brittany is playing for her team because they said, listen, you on the block last week, we want you to be able to play for safety so you don't have to worry about it and get that off your head. Derek X is playing because Brent is on his team and he wants to eliminate the option of Brent being able to win safety. You see how all of this is intricate? Now, Derek X and Tiffany game planned before the veto and decided we have to get Brittany out. And then Tiffany needs to win because they still don't want Derek X to win and potentially save himself and maybe save his team. Because again, the wild card is just that. We don't know what happens as a result of who wins the wild card. So I'm not going to get into explaining this whole game, but basically the long story short is the game is everybody has cars. They have to go across. I guess I am explaining the damn game. They have to go across this wonky bridge that moves, and basically your cars cannot add up to 13 before the other people's cars add up to 13. Last man standing wins. So there's some math, basic math you would think, but when you're in the middle of a game and the adrenaline is flowing, it can be really hard. Now, the biggest problem or the biggest mistake that was made is that it was really, really obvious from the very beginning that Derek X and Tiffany were both targeting Brittany, which was confusing to Brittany's team and confusing to Brittany. I think, and again, I get it, you're in the middle of a game and y'all had a game plan, but I think had it not been so obvious, because honestly you want to eliminate the other person, but had it not been so obvious that both of them were targeting Brittany, it was clear that it was a plan. I mean, it was clear that they had planned that and they had come up with that idea. So Brittany gets eliminated. The plan works out. Tiffany wins the wild card. I didn't want to do all that. So Tiffany had an option of taking the wild card and then playing a game of chance that will potentially save one person from the other two teams. Well, Tiffany didn't take it because, again, we don't want Brent to have a chance to win. It'd be just by luck. It will be Brent that will win for the other team, and we can't. I think the Jokers, and we can't have that happening. So Tiffany doesn't take it because, of course, she knows she's safe. She's not worried about it. Now, here's where Xavier has a dilemma. The dilemma is, do I put Brent up straightforward or do I backdoor Brent? Now, this is where my confusion and my frustration comes in. Xavier, you are in alliances that control damn near the whole house. You literally could put anybody up to backdoor Brent. The likelihood, and especially if Brent doesn't see it coming, the likelihood that would backfire is so minute. That is what I would do. I would call two people in my room and say, listen, we're going to backdoor Brent. Everybody wants Brent, but he is a threat. He could win veto, and we don't want to take that chance. So I'm going to put ABC up, and I'm putting 1, 2, 3 up, and everybody's playing for the veto. The only two people that can't play for the veto and win is Brent and Whitney. And honestly, if you don't piss Brent off and he doesn't see it coming, you still could have Brent play because he doesn't think he's a target. He has no idea he's being backdoored. So you absolutely could put up anybody but Brittany, because now Brittany gets put on the block last week for absolutely no damn reason. And again, all they had to do was have a conversation with Brittany and say, listen, you are not the target. Frenchie's the target. You're safe. And I feel like that would have been a lot off of her. I mean, we know that pawns go home, but it would at least taken some of it off of her. Then you literally targeted her in the wild card competition. That was obvious that they could have seen it from Mars. Now you're going to put her back on the block as a pawn? And you never have a conversation with her. That's my problem. Talk to Brittany and say, listen, this is what's going on. I'm sorry, but you're my pawn. But instead, You're just going to put her up and not talk to nobody. So Azza, shout out to Azza saying, listen, I don't like it. I don't want her going back on the block. I can't deal with her crying again. As upset she was last week, as upset she was after that wild card game. Put me up as the pawn. Xavier is like, no, you're part of my Cookout Alliance, and I'm not going to put you up as a pawn. I'm not going to take that chance. I made that promise. Listen, kudos to Xavier for sticking to the plan. But if she's asking to be put up as a pawn, freaking put her up as a pawn. She's saying, listen, if I go home, I just go home. But I do not want her back on the block. Put me up as a pawn. Put her up as a pawn. Then you call Brent into your office, HOH room, to tell him he's the pawn. And Brent is basically telling you, yeah, no, I'm not. Don't do it. Don't put me up. I don't want to be a pawn. I could go home because everybody sees me as a threat. Well, you never lied about that one, Brent. But again, why are you doing that? Listen. Put him up. Backdoor his ass. This is the perfect backdoor opportunity. You control so much of the house that I said that already. Anyway, y'all. So it comes down to the nominations, and it's Britt and it's Brittany. And Brittany, of course, is getting ready to have a whole breakdown. And I feel for her because if I were her and I were in her shoes, I absolutely would feel like, why are they picking on me? What have I done? Because it absolutely looks like she's being picked on. But you know how you could have eliminated a lot of that? When Azza was up in your room saying, listen, put me up as a pawn. I don't want her to go up. You know what you could have done? You could have asked Brittany to come up to your room and the three of y'all could have had a conversation about it. And you know what ends up happening, Xavier? Then you get somebody else on your team. Brittany. Anyway, we'll see how this plays out, y'all. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I like it, but I didn't like it. Anyway, let me know what y'all think, though. Drop it in those comments. Peace.